Thank you so much. So I have a disclaimer. I have changed the names of the two men in my story, but truthfully, one of their real names is Ken. Not kidding, but I'm not going to tell you which, and we're not going to use that name because it's one of their real names. But so I spent most of college being obsessed with this French dude, and the feeling was not mutual. One time he cheated on me and then explained it to me by saying he pushed me away because he loved me so much. Another time he rolled over in bed half asleep and said to me, "Good night, Diane." You can see from the bottom what my actual name is. When we broke up for the 100th time, it was official. He dropped out of college, telling me that if I didn't want him there, he had no reason to stay. And then it was time for me to study abroad in London, and I was a wreck before I had to go. I spent a lot of my time drinking tequila, and not the good kind, the kind that makes you wake up with a bruise on your ass and not know where you got it. And I got an unfortunate haircut that I called New Look Gone Bad because you can't get like a Joan Jett rocker haircut with bangs when you have curly hair. Not good. I went to London with the intention that I was going to go and I was going to get over the French dude and I was going to do all these hot, sexy things with these cool European guys and I was going to just be a free spirited, wild woman there. But when I got there, I discovered that in the flat next door to me, there were four students from Santa Fe living there. And I was like, you know what? I'm tired. I'm just going to try and hook up with one of them. So I did. Gary. So Gary and I started hooking up on the couch once, like every night, fully clothed for like 5 nights in a row. This was going on. Nothing exciting. And on night number 5, he leaned in as we were making out in my living room, roommates right next door, and said to me, "Do you want me to lick your cunt?" That's what he said. That's what he said. And I went, "What?" And then he repeated it again, louder, in case I hadn't heard him properly. And I just said, I guess. And so he did, and it was unremarkable. And then we went into the building hallway to have sex away from my roommates. And then, to Gary's credit, he did go home. But this was a win because I was moving on from the French guy. This was a step up from the dysfunction in my French relationship back in America. So I decided that I was just going to go with this, right? Like maybe we were going to have some like hot Santa Fe sex with Adobe and start, like making love under dream catchers. I was ready for this. So the next day I stopped by Gary's flat and I found him alone in the kitchen, sitting on a stool, reading the Bible. And this didn't compute with what had just happened the night before and the language that had been used. So my jaw dropped and I said, "Are you reading the Bible?" And he said, "Yeah, I read it every day. Have you ever read it?" And no, I mean, my family's not religious. Like my father's was a Jewish atheist and my mother, she's not Jewish, but she's also not religious. Like we had a Christmas tree and that was about it. And so he said, "Would you like me to read some passages to you?" And look, like, I get it. I get it now, many years later, as an adult who has a lot of experience, that you can be a person that the C word just like rolls off your tongue the night before, and then the next day read the Bible, and people are multifaceted. I understand that. But at the time, this just couldn't compute. Like, frankly, I just wanted a lot more of oral sex and like little to no Bible reading in this relationship with Gary. So I went home. And when I did, I pondered for the entire 3 steps it took me to get back to my flat of what I should do about Gary. And then I just kind of stopped answering the door when he knocked, which was fine because he got the hint after like 1 or 2 knocks. He had God. He would be completely fine without me. And then I proceeded to go on with my semester, focus on my studies, gained 15 pounds, tried unsuccessfully to grow out my bangs, and had 0 romantic or sexual prospects for the remaining 6 months I was there. And that was punishment enough for ditching a perfectly nice Christian, dirty talking boy from Santa Fe. And then 6 months later, I got on the plane to go back to New York. And I walked to my seat, and in a voice not dissimilar to Hannibal Lecter, I hear, "Hello, Margot." And I go and I look. It was Gary, of all the planes. of all the rows, of all the seats. How could I have possibly been seated next to Gary? We weren't even, he was from New Mexico. I don't even understand why he was on my flight. I sat down next to him. He proceeded to talk to me in depth for this 8-hour flight of how, what went wrong with us and how we could have made it work. And I just wanted it to end. So I fed him drinks from the drink cart and hoped he would pass out, which he eventually did with his head on my shoulder, snoring loudly. And I may not be a person that believes in hell, but I am pretty sure that was damn close to it. Thank you.